Did you get that?
Yeah, got it.
Of course.
To get started for the session today, there's probably just like a 10-15 minute intro that I'd love to do, just in terms of like my teaching style, concepts with footwork, hip positioning and midsection and stuff like that, just so that when I use different terms and stuff like that, everyone's on the same page. How I like to set up is basically in like a V stance, so heels together, 90-degree angle. The belly button will be pointed in a 45-degree off the center line this way. And then I'll basically just slide my foot out a couple of inches in this direction. And from there, you'll be able to squeeze the quads quite comfortably. Now I'm gonna rotate my shoulders completely to the front and we end up in this stance here. Awesome. So from here, we're rotated hips off the center line. We've got the quads on, and particularly in categories like classic, I like to imagine there's this energy through the floor and it's pulling upward, versus bodybuilding is sort of like pushing down, those sort of, it's a very sort of plodding sort of style, I guess, in modern bodybuilding, versus classic, it has that very kind of like contemporary dance sort of feel to it. So with classic, keeping your movements like that, it'll definitely draw attention to you on the stage. So with that in mind, let's start off in your front poses. Nice, it's good. With yours, I'd just like you to bring your stance in a little bit tighter, a little bit closer, and then also exaggerating that hip rotation even more. That's it. Good. And then the key with the upper body, basically we want to flare the lats as much as possible, but then from the elbow down, making it look nice and relaxed. So we're not too sort of tense through here. So elbows down, super chill, but from the shoulders, lats, everything, really stretched out as much as possible. That's good. Another thing to remember is like you're on the stage, the judges are down there. Just gonna bring the torso slightly forward. You don't wanna overdo it too much, but just maybe a couple inches forward so that visual perspective just looks better from where the eye line is. Good. I'd like yours to be a little bit more rotated as well. Yeah, like that. Yeah, like really getting those hips rotated off the center line. So less of a lean and more like a pivot, more like a rotation in the direction of your back leg. So yes, that's it, perfect. And then shoulders to the front, yeah, that's it. Good, okay. Let's go through a front double bicep. So from there, setting up into a front double bicep. Nice, this is coming along really well, awesome. Yeah, that's looking really good. Okay, I'm just gonna go through like just a couple of technique pointers for when you're practicing, to making sure when you're correcting yourselves, you know you're in the right position. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like it as much, but the ICN judging criteria kind of favors that more. So they do want to see guys hitting that.
So you'll be practicing that instead, you think?
Yeah, I normally set up with this one and then come into that one.
Yeah, so hit it afterwards.
Yeah. In this one, there's some occasions where that one is going to look better. And in terms of the shape that we're wanting to make with the side chest as well, like technique-wise, I notice your foot position's all really good. The only difference with yours is I would just, for men's physique, I would just spike the rear leg. I think that tends to look better with board shorts. I think versus, because you're not really trying to show off the hammy and everything, I think it's more of a casual style. So in terms of what we're trying to do with our like silhouette, if I'm really crunched in like this, I'm just making myself look more narrow than I need to. So I'm actually trying to pull my shoulder back, pull my elbow back. So if I measured the distance from elbow to elbow, as wide as possible, and shoulder to shoulder also as wide as possible. At the same time I do that, I don't want to bring my hips around because it's going to make my waist look thicker as well. So if my hips are counter rotated and pushed forward, I can pull into this position and then pull back and across. I'm basically widening the thoracic region while the waist stays really small to create that shape. Whereas if I'm tucked in too tight, it still looks good and I'll still get that definition, but the silhouette through here. And also just remembering from the judge's perspective, they're kind of scanning probably 7 or 8 people at the same time. So they're not going to be looking at you at the same kind of detail that I am now. So making your silhouette just kind of pop that little bit more can be the difference that can bump you up another place or two. So yeah, awesome.
One more time. Here.
For you, I'd bring it down. I like it here because you have really great intercostals. So showing those off, yeah, definitely. Nice. And then with this one here, good. Yeah, that's looking good. Yours is awesome. Good. And rotating your hips a bit more side on, So shoulders around to the front a little bit more. Awesome. Let's take a look at the side tricep. Nice. That's good. I'm really happy with that, and I like that leg position for the men's physique. Really good. Okay, that's good there. Just the thing with this one is maybe a tiny bit too front on. We still want it to be a little bit more side on, getting the waist pivoted to the side, bringing the hand behind. Yeah, showing off that tricep. Good. And with that, see if you can just externally rotate through the knee and the hip, but without bringing your hips around. So go through here. It's only this leg that points out that tiny bit more. So just pointing your toe toward me a bit more. Yeah, perfect. Keeping your hips this way. That's it. So now we're kind of going wide at the bottom, in at the middle, and then out into that triangle shape at the top. Still showing off tricep really well. Exhale a little bit more air too. You won't be able to see your midsection at all, but the only pose you should ever hold your breath on is a vacuum. The entire time that you're hitting all the other poses, you should be able to breathe, even if it's just tiny, shallow breaths. Let's take a look at the back double bicep now. Okay, and relax. All right. Foot position from here, just because with ICN guidelines and that sort of thing, they want to make the back double bicep slightly different compared to the bodybuilding category. So we have a couple options here, which I'll go through. Bring the hips into this kind of position, that's okay. But otherwise, we can bring one hand up into this type of shape as well, or we can even hit like this kind of thing. There's a few other variations we can go through as we do more sessions as well. Spike the rear calf, rotate the hips to the side, that's not spiked. Remember, it's more of a rotation than a tilt. So it's like a twist. Yeah, good. Nice, that's good. That could be natural to try and squat deeper, but we end up getting the tension there, but we're now in kind of a weird sort of posture. So if anything, I like to imagine it on the way up. So it's like I'm down in this position and I'm going to leap upward as opposed to kind of on the way down in that spot. So let's just try that one more time and just imagine that energy from the floor to the point where I can almost make a cramp. It's just really tight. And then from there, holding that, working the way up, gripping the hamstring, don't lose the calf, good. And then from there, feel anchored in that position. So it's like turn to the back, and then you just set it up, and it's just like pop. All three segments just feel like they're just solid. Like I could stay here for 5 minutes if they needed me to. I'm just gonna play around with a few different things because men's physique, you can kind of do more stuff. You don't have to show the legs. So in that position there, I actually really like that one there. Yeah, I think because you've got that rotation off the center, it just has a really nice aesthetic to it. Yeah. We're just going to perform a lat spread. So to hit a front lat spread, essentially we're going to be like almost like making like a thumbs up. And basically I like to put the thumbs to the back, so it's just around the back, and I'm using that part of my hand there to kind of pinch in the sides. So it's basically from here. And basically what that is the chest up, so that it just helps with that posture, because if we're too internally rotated, it is just going to close off the lats. So position, yeah, good. I reckon your hand position can come up just a tiny bit higher here on stage. Yeah, and that can make a pretty big difference as well, because I guess you're telegraphing that you're a competent competitor as well. It takes that time and coordination. I guess it's like playing a new sport, and then eventually, it's just like the first couple of months that you do it, it's just like, oh, it feels really weird. Particularly posing as well, because there's some movements in posing that just are not transferable from anything you've done before. Like it'd be like, oh yeah, I was a good rugby player, or I did this, and it's just like, like posing is like, there's these weird skills where I got to be up on the toe and I got to be squeezing the quad in this weird position. If you get feathering in that quad, there's nothing wrong with tilting it up a little bit if it helps. Normally I try and keep the foot flat on the ground, but the alternative to that is if you get like a lot more pull and definition through it, then you can definitely pull the toe up a little bit. Down? Yeah, then definitely keep it down then. Awesome. Yeah, that's my favorite position for that one. Yeah, really good. Yeah, that's looking much better. Really nice. Awesome. Okay, back double bicep, setting the feet first, remembering to really stretch the scapula as much as possible. And for yours, just bend the knee a little bit more and see if you can push in the calf a little bit. Yeah, that's it. So we're kind of pushing like that kind of movement, like a calf raise forward. Yeah, and here, just raise this up a little bit higher. Yeah, that's it. Almost like one thing that can help too is like visualization. Like we're here and we're kind of like we're carrying something really important. We're like lifting it up. It just kind of sells the pose a little bit and also gives it like purpose as you're getting into it as well.
Just like looking straight at your hand, like how so it flows, so we're like.
Exactly, yeah. Because otherwise it can be kind of awkward. You're kind of like, what's this hand even doing here, kind of thing. But it's kind of like mimicking like oh, there's something interesting kind of happening up there in that direction. But I want to go through some classic posing specifically so you guys can have like something for your free pose as well. I think I found exactly the point where they do it.
Add another one.
Yeah. I think he did really well too.
Yeah, he looks like he's got very good.
Confident with everything. Pretty good. Yeah. I'd say it's looking pretty good. So and also just crowd entertainment and just, you know, I'm sure these guys are going to get a ton of video and stuff like that. So it's going to be, you know, good to put on a show for that. So, but also for yourselves as well. I think it's, you know, for me, I love getting up there and, you know, doing stuff like that. So it's just like, oh, the more creative and artistic they allow you to get with posing, yeah, that's,
Like the flower.
yeah, yep.
I was seeing that video, I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah, through some rounds and then we'll just keep working on all those things.